Oh hey there lads, my name is Lossy and welcome to Hell Let Loose. This is a newly announced World War II first-person shooter being developed on the Unreal Engine by the Australian development team Black Matter. This is their flagship title and it has attracted a lot of attention recently because of what it promises to offer. Let's take a look. The public description of the game calls it a realistic shooter that features combat on the ground as infantry in a wide range of vehicles and artillery. With up to 100 players per game, this looks to be a very platoon-based World War II simulation title. They have quite a large emphasis that this is solely based on realism and isn't a more arcade-styled shooter. So let's have a more in-depth look at what the developers are planning. Firstly, huge battles. With up to 100 players in a game with 50 players per side, that's a lot of carnage. Battlefield's 64-player matches are chaotic and give that feeling of being in a world war, but with 50 players per team, you'll really feel like you're fighting in a war. With that many players, coordination is key. By using teamwork, tactics, and communication, you and your platoon will plan attacks and execute strategies. According to the developers, this game is easy to play, but hard to master, exactly what most players want nowadays. In terms of gameplay, this isn't your standard capture the flag setup. Instead, we are tasked with capturing different sectors of the massive 4-kilometer squared map to gather resources. The map size is 1:1, which will provide the players with enough room to accommodate all 100 of us, but also be small enough so the action doesn't get boring. Vehicles are also quite a big addition to this game. It wouldn't be very realistic without them. To get us from A to B, there are over 20 different player-controlled vehicles, each in their own vehicle category. Supply, transport, light, medium and heavy armor vehicles, mobile artillery, tank destroyer, assault gun, half-track, scout, and repair. Initially, the developers want to include supply and transport vehicles before adding the more interesting variants like the Sherman tank or the Panzer. The game is set during Operation Overlord. This is the first theatre of war. Some of the map is set around the town of Sainte-Marie-du-Mont on D-Day, 1944. More maps and battles are scheduled to come later, but initially we'll be fighting on a 1:1 scale map of the D-Day landings. The map features dense woodlands, canals, countryside and small villages. The map is so large it is estimated to take over 15 minutes to cross it on foot. As well as being an infantryman fighting as normal, there are an additional 3 styles of play: strategic, operational and tactical. As a strategic player, you play as the commander who decides where to deploy your forces. You must communicate through the radio with your officers to summon reinforcements, organize supplies, and order powerful aerial and naval strikes to help your allies. As an operational player, you look after the supply lines of trucks, transport vehicles, and armoured recovery vehicles. And a tactical player plays as an officer who must establish an observation post and garrisons before deciding the best course of attack. By marking targets with binoculars, you notify the commander of opportunities and can help them make the game-winning decisions. You must remember, this isn't Conquest from Battlefield. This is the Warfare game mode, 50 against 50, with sectors offering 1 of 3 resources for your team. Fuel, munitions, all of these things must be taken into account before attacking a sector. This all comes together to build a very team-focused game. We'll have all the usual suspects in our loadout as well, with over 16 weapons from rifles to submachine guns. Won't have a crosshair though, so the gunplay will be a little bit more tense and realistic. We won't even have the likes of a red dot sight from modern games to help us. It'll all be down to us and our iron sights. When firing the guns, some may even jam or overheat, again adding another sense of realism. The game is set to release on PC with a closed alpha expected to begin this October. The developers at Black Matter hope to have the game fully released early next year. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though there'll be any console version at launch, but they may port it over sometime after the launch of the PC version. While the game will cover the fighting throughout the Second World War, the initial theatre of war will be the fighting at Normandy. This will involve the factions of the USA and the German forces, but the team hopes to add the British, Russian and Japanese armies in the future for other theatres of war. Healing is something very cool. It builds upon what Battlefield has been doing for years. If you take a shot to the extremities, you'll be able to heal yourself, but by getting hit in a vital area, you'll have to seek out a medic to help you. Taking more damage from something like a grenade or a mortar will, as the developer post puts it, turn you into Humpty Dumpty. This is a realistic shooter. Gore is a thing. If you take a grenade to the legs, you won't be revived with a syringe. Your legs will be blown off. A similar mechanic can be applied to the vehicle repairing with different phases of damage. Different players of different roles will man different vehicles, with vehicles manning 2 players. While realistically tanks were manned by up to 5 or so people, to have more vehicle variety on the battlefield and more action, they've been restricted to 2 players along with optional passengers and a commander position. Building and fortifying positions is also a key part of playing. The engineer class, for example, can put up barbed wire, tank traps and establish machine gun nests. To construct these defences though, you need supplies from capturing sectors, which are then transported by supply trucks commanded by the operational player we talked about earlier. Everything comes together and people are relying on people to get things done and to win the game. Honestly, from the sounds of it, it sounds like team play on a whole new level. I have covered Battalion 1944, another World War II shooter, here on the channel for over a year, and will definitely continue to do so. That game is a throwback title, more along the lines of Call of Duty 2, really fast paced and skill based. Hell Let Loose, however, while it is set during the same time and powered by the same engine, it appears to be a very different game, based more on team play and tactics like a strategy game. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this game in the future and will cover it as much as possible here on the channel, because if the developers can deliver half of what they're saying they will, then this game will be epic. Let me know what you think of all this down below in the comments, and check out the website linked in the description to go through all of the other information yourself. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to join the lads, but until the next one, I'll see you lads later.